Okay, thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Montclair Zoning Board of Adjustment. It is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. Notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting a copy of the notice at the municipal building and sending a copy of the notice to the Montclair Times and the Star Ledger. We'll start with roll call this evening. Chair Harrison.
Here.
Vice Chair Fleischer.
Here.
Mr. Church.
Yeah.
Ms. Harris.
Here.
And then we have Mr. McCullough is excused, Mr. Moore is excused, Mr. Allen is absent, Mr. Simon is excused, Mr. Caulfield is excused, Ms. Gilmer is excused, and Mr. Sullivan.
Here.
Okay. We have the minutes of the April 21st meeting on page 3. The second line at the end where it says subscription box service, I replaced "for" with "using." So it reads subscription box service using locally sourced street foods.
That's which page? Oh,
Page 3, that line.
page 3, line 2.
Yeah.
And add what at the end of that sentence? Sorry, it was
Replace "for" with "using." I don't have any other changes to.
I have a change on page 2, line 18. It doesn't read or make any sense to me. It says the board noted that the corner no, okay. The board would generally in favor of the application with the proposal landscaping to shield from view. Doesn't say what it's shielding from view. It said the generator, then that's fine. I have no further changes.
Anyone else, any changes to the minutes?
Move approval of the minutes as corrected.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We have the resolution for the Compass application at 113 Grove Street. I don't have any changes to the resolution. Does anyone else have any changes?
Move approval.
Mr. Fleischer to move that.
Move approval of the resolution as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and then we have the resolution for the Sanchez property at 167 Park Street. On page 2, I want to change the wording of the condition. So just one change, well, no. Okay, in the first sentence, which is the only sentence at the moment, but that will change. It should replace the word obtain with impose. And then after deed restriction, put satisfactory to the board's attorney. And then a new sentence that reads, a recorded copy of the deed restriction is to be submitted to the planning staff prior to a certificate of occupancy for the accessory structure being issued. Anyone else with any changes to that resolution?
Move approval of the resolution as corrected by the chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, we have the resolution for the Silberstein property on Macopin Road. I don't have any changes to. Oh,
Move approval of the resolution as submitted.
actually.
Second.
Let's hold on. Something is amiss.
I have the resolution on the screen as well now.
Oh, I see what's amiss.
I
Okay.
have a correction to the next one. That may straighten it out.
That's, I was looking at the one and getting confused. It was-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, anyone else with any changes to that, the Macopin Avenue resolution?
Move approval as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, then we have the resolution for the Balancio property on Tuxedo Road. The heading needs to be changed, so it says Tuxedo Road instead of Macopin Avenue. I don't have any other changes to that resolution.
That was my only change. Move approval of the resolution as corrected.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
And then we have the resolution for the Narang property on Pierson Place. I don't have any changes to that resolution. Does anyone else have any changes?
Move approval of the resolution as submitted.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Harris, you're abstaining, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Graham, you want to do the 97 announcements?
Yes, I can. Just let me pull the agenda up so we can all see the series of announcements and postponements. Just give me 1 second while I get that shared on the screen. Okay, so a number of announcements to make this evening. First, the application 2695 for property at 54 South Mountain Avenue for Kyle and Carrie Kalaja. The applicant has withdrawn the application to the board, so that application will not proceed, and they have withdrawn that application filing. The second application this evening, application 2719 for property at 92 Bay Street, applicant New Assets LLC. The applicant has requested to carry this matter to the June 16th meeting of the board. The application will be carried with no further notice. And then the final carriage this evening is our item D on the agenda, application 2726 for property at 41 Harrison Avenue, applicant DeSanti Realty. The applicant has requested to carry that matter to the June 16th, 2021 meeting of the board. The application will be carried with no further notice. So with that,
Okay, so the first application that we'll hear tonight is that of Paulette Gonzalez-Sierchio, owner of property at 683 Grove Street. This is an application for a variance to construct in addition to the existing dwelling on the subject property. The property is located in the R11 Family Zone District. The property is designated on the township tax maps as lot 33 and block 3802. A variance is requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45D, at a front yard setback of less than the average front yard setback of the existing buildings for both Grove Street and LaSalle Road. Are taxes paid, and is the notice in order?
yes.
And is the applicant present?
We do have the Joseph Sierchio, looks like he's here, and Mr. Scott Bella, the architect, is here this evening.
Yes, this is Paulette.
Okay.
I'm here also.
Okay,
Hello,
so
Paulette.
would the-
Before we begin, can I ask a question? In the planning report, it shows an aerial view of the subject property, but it's the wrong view. It's not the subject property.
Aerial photo.
Yeah,
So Pierson Place, Pierson Place.
Apologies. Was moving quickly through those. Yeah, we can note that that's a correction for the record, that the photo there is not the correct aerial.
Okay. Do you have an aerial for it? I mean, not that we necessarily need it. Do we have an aerial?
We do. Yeah, I can make that correction right now quickly.
Okay, so the two property owners are present, is that correct?
Yes,
And Mr. Bella, the architect, you're present, correct?
Yes.
Okay, would all three of you please raise your right hands? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask the property owners, just give us your names and addresses first.
Paulette Gonzalez-Sierchio, 683 Grove Street, Montclair, New Jersey, 07043.
Joe Sergio, 683 Grove Street, New Jersey, 07043.
All right, and Mr. Bella, would you just give us your name and address for the record, please?
Yes. Scott, 65 Glen Ave, Glen Rock.
And Mr. Bella, you're a registered architect in the state of New Jersey, is that correct?
Is correct. Yes.
And your license is in good standing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to proceed and explain what you're proposing to do to the house and garage?
Yes. I guess I'd like to go through it first and then ask the applicants if they have anything to say beyond that. But I'd like to just give a brief overview and talk about the variances and why we're here this evening. So they are looking to put an addition to their home to extend their existing one-car garage and make it a two-car garage. And above that, they're looking to do within the attic space of that enlarged garage, a small study/home office area. In addition to doing the addition, the main part of the project is to eliminate the existing driveway in the front of Grove Street, which is located at the intersection of Hebron and Grove Street, right at the traffic light. So very difficult to pull in and out of the existing driveway. And because this site is a unique site in that the back side of it has frontage on LaSalle Road, which is a cul-de-sac or dead-end cul-de-sac, they would like to shift the entrance, or the car entrance, if you will, to the LaSalle side. Both of the front yard setbacks are why we're here this evening. We are asking for variances for both the Grove Street front yard setback and the LaSalle Road setback. Both of the requirements are 25 feet or the average setback. We are beyond the 25 feet. However, in both cases, the average setback is larger than the 25 feet. So we are asking for a variance because we are not meeting that requirement. On the LaSalle side, the average setback is 26.16, and we are at 25.7. And on the Grove Street side, the average setback is 32.39, and we would ask to match the existing at 28.91. So essentially, we are asking to match on the Grove side the existing line that's currently there, and go no further to the street or closer to the street than what is existing. And in fact, the main part of the dwelling is even closer to Grove Street in that it is 26.75. And if you look at the plot plan in front of you, the LaSalle Road setback is really just to the corner of the addition. If you can see, that little corner just pops into the setback, or the average setback at that area there. So we are dealing with a little bit of a hardship in that the fact that we're on a main road and a main intersection, but in addition to that, the site is sort of not very deep. It's not a rectangle. It has that awkward shape by LaSalle Road. So it's a little difficult to squeeze in this addition without having to go for a variance. So essentially, that's why we're here this evening. I'm here to answer any questions that the board has, but essentially that is what we're looking to do. And we do have two variances that we are asking for.
Are there questions from members of the board?
I have no questions on this application. I just, the only concern I have, and it's an odd one because it doesn't technically affect us, is how does someone know how to get to the driveway or to that side of the house from the address? Because the only if someone was coming to visit you, how would they know that they don't park there on Grove Street and leave a car there and come in and visit? It's just I understand it because of the address, but just a question. Other than that, I don't really have any problems with what you're doing. It's just going to be a little strange when you tell somebody we live at 683 Grove or whatever it is, and then the only way they can get there is go quite a ways down Alexander and then start weaving their way through and end up on LaSalle Road. So, I mean, it's your problem, I guess, ultimately in the end, but it's kind of a strange situation. That's the only problem I have with it.
I can just comment because I do appreciate the comment that you're making. In the 25 years I've lived here, that's just been a matter of course for us because there is no parking on Grove Street here and there's generally not access to our driveway that people feel safe in entering it. So we've been giving that direction for a couple of decades.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Church, do you have any questions?
Hang on, Mr. Church. I muted your line. Go ahead, Mr. Church.
I have no questions.
Ms. Harris, do you have any questions?
Excuse me if you've said this already, but so what's going to happen to the driveway that's currently that you currently access from Grove Street?
It's being removed and
Completely.
grass over. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, and I assume that the sidewalk that leads from the driveway to the current breezeway, that'll go too?
That is correct. Whatever's dashed is going to be removed in that area, yes.
Okay. Okay. Are there any members of the public who have questions, testimony, comments? Anything at all you want to say about the application? This is your opportunity. Mr. Petto will unmute all the lines and see if anyone's out there.
Sure. So all members of the public, I'll be unmuting your lines. If you have any questions or comments on this application, please state your name.
Hi, I'm Frank Wabacki. I just have.
Hang on one second, Mr. Rabacki. I'm just going to mute everyone.
And Mr. Rabacki, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes,
Okay, state your name and address, please.
Frank Wabacki, 398 Upper Mountain Avenue, Montclair.
Okay, Mr. Rabacki, this would be an opportunity to ask questions and make comments if you choose to do so.
Yes, I would like to combine the two. My first question is really for the board. There's a document you're referring to that's not posted on the website. The only two documents on the website were the architect's plan and the application. It's not a big deal. It's just going forward, I would like to see all the documents that are part of the application package included on the website. Second thing is a comment, and it's a thank you. A thank you to the applicants and the architect for improving this intersection. It's not something that I really expected to have happen, and it was a very pleasant surprise to see you removing this curb cut and driveway from what is a challenging intersection and a busy intersection. So I just want to say thank you for doing this, and I appreciate it. That's the extent of my comments.
Okay. Any other members of the public with either comments, questions, testimony, anything you want to say about the application? This is your opportunity.
Okay, once again, all members of the public will be unmuting the lines. Please state your name if you'd like to make a comment. Once again, any members of the public who have a comment on the application, now is the time. Please state your name and we'll bring you into the meeting. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm not hearing any further requests for public comment.
Okay. Is there anything further Any of you wish to add before we discuss and vote on the application? This is your last chance to say whatever you want to say.
I don't have any further comments. Thank you for your
Yeah.
consideration.
I'm good with my summary as well.
Okay, we'll start the discussion with Mr. Church.
Am I muted or unmuted?
You're
We can hear
not
you.
muted.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have no problem with this application. I think it is, like Mr. Rebecki said, it's a change that is beneficial to that whole area there at that light. It's very busy. I think taking the driveway and the garage off of Grove Street, entrance to the garage off Grove Street, is a good idea. So I have no problem with this application. Therefore, I vote in favor of it.
Okay, Ms. Harris,
I'm in favor of this application.
Mr. Fleischer,
Mr. Fleischer, hang on one second.
Oh,
Go ahead,
sorry.
Mr. Fleischer.
I'm also in favor of the application. It's actually a great solution, and the architect and the client, the applicant, did a great job to come up with it. So I'm in favor.
so I'm also in favor of the application. I grew up on Alexander's east of Grove Street, and so when I took the decamp bus, I'd walk out and take it right in front of your house, and was always mystified by the driveway going out onto Grove, which is clearly not a safe condition, as Mr. Rubacki indicated. And I'm glad that finally you're putting the driveway where it belongs and improving the intersection and improving your property and making your life much safer, as well as anyone driving by on Grove. I don't think, not only will the application not cause a substantial detriment to the public good, it will actually be an asset, and it certainly will not cause a substantial impairment to the zone plan. Someone want to move approval of the application?
Move
I
approval.
would,
Go ahead, Jay.
I would move approval of the application as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? Having heard 4 ayes, you're approved, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
The next application is that of Chen Lagomarsino for property at 33 Brookfield Road. This is an application to construct additions to the existing dwelling on the subject property. The property is in the R2 two-family zone. Property is designated on the township tax maps as Lot 25 and Block 1705. A variance is requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45B1 to permit a minimum front yard setback of less than the required 25 feet. A variance is also requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45C1 to permit a minimum side yard setback of less than the required 6 feet from one side and 10 feet on the other. Variance is also requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45C4 to permit a maximum building width of greater than 65% of the width of the lot. Are taxes paid, and is the notice in order?
Yes.
Again, there's a correction on, there needs to be a correction on the zoning report. On the page where it talks about zoning, it says the required minimum lot width is 35 feet and the subject property has a lot width of 60. It's actually just the opposite of
I
that.
transposed the values.
So just for the record, we ought to correct that.
Thank you, Mr. Fleischer. Is the applicant or applicants present?
Yes, the applicant is here in the meeting. Ms. Lagomarsino, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
I do.
State your name and address, please.
Robert Lagomarsino, 35 Brookfield Road, Montclair.
And I see Mr. Varela is also present.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes, I do.
State your name and address.
My name is Vicente Varela Jr. My address is 584 Main Avenue in Passaic, New Jersey. I'm a licensed architect since 2014.
And you're licensed in New Jersey and your license is in good standing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Okay, so we previously went before the board last year for a very similar variances. And we were approved by the historic board and by the zoning board. But upon closer inspection and after approval, my clients took a second look at the drawings and they realized that they really needed more space than what we had on the drawings. This is their primary residence, and they want to be comfortable in the house. So they're looking to extend further back an extra 12 feet than what was previously submitted. Yeah. The variances are mostly because of the size of the lot. The building is existing. The side yard setbacks are very small on the existing lot, where it's required to be 6 feet on one side. They have 3.8 feet to the main building, and on the other side, where it's required to be 6 feet, they have 4.93 feet to the main building. So they're looking to extend that backward.
Are there questions? Joe, Mr. Fleischer, do you have any questions?
Not really. I mean, I always have problems with this type of situation where how much is too much on a site. But if they haven't exceeded the coverage, and I don't think they have with the building or the percentage of it, they're essentially extending the existing building along the lines that exist now in the building, and essentially, therefore, I have no problem with this.
Mr. Church, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Ms. Harris, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, I have a couple. Have you had a chance to review the memo from the board's engineer?
No, I'm not aware.
No.
Graham, you want to put it up on the screen so we can go over? Okay. So the first comment is the applicant shall clarify on the plans existing and proposed features. According to the aerial images, the proposed paved area in the back of the building is currently pervious. Can you explain or say what's there now and what you're proposing to do?
I'm sorry, so which part, I just got my glasses, I apologize. Which, you looking at
Okay.
number one or?
Number one, we're going to go through them in sequence.
Okay, features, including, according to aerial images, proposed paved area in the back is currently pervious. Right, so we're not going to be extending the basement. We'll be creating a footings, and then that'll be what's supporting the back. Right now, it's all grass.
Okay. I'm trying to see what the engineer was referring to on the plans. Immediate success.
I think this is, if I could just add, I think that what the engineer is trying to get at is this is required under the new stormwater regulations that were implemented.
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm just explaining to Mr. Lagomarsino. The engineer's trying to identify exactly how many square feet of new impervious there is. So he's
Okay.
indicating in this first comment that it looks like there's some pervious portions, but there is a paved patio area. So
Oh, yeah, there is a slight paved patio area. Yeah, there
yeah,
is.
so the intent is that we need to calculate what's the net improvement.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what
Net
the measure.
new impervious surface.
True. The
And that
patio area.
includes the roof area, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and that's his second comment is you need to do calculations as to current impervious and then additional impervious as a result of the improvement.
Okay, I think we can contract a soils engineer to do those calculations and to size a dry well if needed.
Okay. I don't, that may, I'll leave it to you as to how you want to do it, but I don't know that you need a soils engineer. It's just going to be calculating the additional building coverage, not counting the patio and any other new impervious surface you're adding, minus any impervious that's going away with the addition, which I think would just be the patio area potentially. Okay, and then the third comment is you have to revise the plans to show you're meeting the runoff requirements in the current ordinance. This is what you just said you would do if there's a dry well needed. You would add that, and you're going to need. You're going to have to show that you're not increasing runoff pursuant to the ordinance. And the fourth condition is basically the same thing, that you're going to have to include the stormwater management for the new impervious surface. Do you have any problem with doing that?
No, that's fine.
And then, then the fifth comment, I'm going to slightly modify what you need to do in terms of, it's not, the issue is not so much what you're showing with the elevations, which I think was sufficiently clear, but what you need to show is how the stormwater runoff from the house is being directed so it's not impacting the neighboring properties.
Yes, we can make that up.
The sixth condition is basically the same thing, that you're showing the roof leader locations and length, et cetera, for those. So do you have any problems meeting with the requirements of the board engineer?
No, that's fine. We can update the drawings to show leaders going to a dry well.
Bill, can I just say something, just because I'm dealing with this myself personally? I would just say to review this or the revised ordinance, because the interventions for the stormwater are supposed to be green infrastructure practices, not a typical dry well. I think you would need a variance for a dry well. So just, have
Okay.
you do it or have your engineer review before you implement a plan.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board? Okay. Are there any members of the public who have questions, testimony, statements, anything you want to say about the application at all? This is your opportunity to say something.
Okay, all members of the public, I'll be unmuting lines. Please state your name if you'd like to make a comment on the application.
Hi, I'd like
I
to.
want to comment.
Please state your name.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, hang on one second, sir. I'm going to get the phone line first. 1 second, everyone.
Maybe they hear you, Mom.
Okay, sir, can you hear us?
Yes,
Yes,
I
we
can hear you.
Yes?
Hey, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, we are.
Yes, I am.
Okay, yes, I'm raising my right hand. I'm trying to get online. I really need to talk to you guys. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Okay, let's hold on a second. Hold on a second. We can hear you right now. So,
Okay, I've been trying to talk to you guys. It's very frustrating.
Okay, well, hold on. We just swore you in. Would you give us your name and address, please?
My name is Robert Hildebrand. I live at 100 Elmwood Road, Verona. I own 88 Bay Street, the building directly across the street from what you're discussing.
Oh, Mr. Hildebrand, I think you might be referring to the project at 92 Bay Street.
Yes.
Yes. So Mr. Hildebrand, that applicant is not proceeding this evening. They have requested to carry to the June 16th meeting.
Okay, thank
You haven't
goodness.
missed anything.
I received zero notification. I found out about this a half hour ago, and I've just been trying frantically to get through.
Okay, Mr. Hildebrand, this is Graham Petto from the planning office. If you give me a call tomorrow, we can discuss and we can, ensure that, check in with the notice and make sure everything is squared away, okay?
Okay, but-
Great, thank you very much, Graham.
But
Sorry
the
about
hearing
that.
will be on June 16th, so talk to Graham tomorrow, but that'll be the date that application will be heard, and you'll have an opportunity then to say whatever you want about the application at that time.
Great. I just don't know anything about it yet. I don't know if I'm positive or negative. I just don't
Okay,
know.
the
But thank you very much. I'll talk to you
application
tomorrow.
is on the township website. Mr. Petto can give him a call tomorrow and he can explain how you can access what's on the website, how you can access the meeting on June 16th, and,
Great.
go
Thank
from
you
there.
guys very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then we do have one other member of the public here. I believe that Ms. Soman?
Yes. Hi.
Yes, hi. We just brought you into the meeting. Mr. Sullivan will swear you in.
Okay. Is there
Ms.
a,
Soman,
am I supposed to be on video here?
if you can, if you are unable to do so, we'll proceed.
Let's see. Is there a way? Let me just try this. Is there a place that I hit?
I don't have you in the meeting as a panelist, Ms. Soman. You're just an attendee, so
Okay.
we won't have video access.
Okay. Okay. My hand's raised.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
I do.
State your name and address.
My name is Leanna Soman, and I'm at 31 Brookfield Road, Montclair, New Jersey, 07043. And my property is right next to, my property is right next to Robert's property that he just bought, well, I guess about in 2019. So I have some questions and comments. Can I just speak now?
Yes.
Fire away.
Terrific. So I understand that there had been a previous hearing and that he was, first of all, I'm very excited that Robert and his family are going to be fixing up this property and living there. It's really in need of TLC, so I think it's lovely. I understand there had been another hearing February 19th, I believe, 2020. And I realize I must have received a notice. I don't remember that at that time, is none of us will forget. It was the beginning of the pandemic. My son was hospitalized with COVID, and it just was, it probably, I just didn't open the mail, who knows what. Had I been there, I would have requested that the 6-foot setback on my side be honored. Our houses are so close together. But I realize that's already, he's already, that's been accepted. So now seeing this new 12-foot addition he wants to build, which I totally understand because of course we all want more room and a beautiful home. I would like to request that he actually does have the 6-foot setback. Since this is an all new, he can, I guess this addition is a new construction that he's going to put on. It's really, really too close to my property. And I guess there's an existing zoning law for a reason. And I'm not exactly sure, maybe a question is why he needs to be so close to me. What the reason would be, aside from just aesthetically wanting, we all want that, of course. I would really just, having more room would allow a little bit more light. My backyard is going to be in shadow. I'm an artist. I use the light in my studio. I've been here for 23 years in Montclair, and so it will impact me. I do understand we all have that desire, so that's probably not heavily weighed. But I suppose I just want to understand why it is that this very large structure is going to be so close to my property. And I do have one other thing. I'll just put it out there. And that is that another concern is that the only walkway I have to my backyard is the one in between our houses, which is quite small. So I wonder about how that's going to work out. So if he's only 3.8 feet, I'm just a little bit concerned with that. I have, like I said, my son has health issues, so I'm concerned about construction and all that, but that I believe is not a zoning issue. So I think that's, I think I said everything I wanted to say.
Okay, Mr. Varela, you want to respond to the question about why the addition is keeping the existing setbacks?
Sure. I think it's, again, I think it's for the size of the rooms inside. If, I'm sure I could probably redesign it to maintain that 6-foot setback. Since we are getting the extra 12 feet, I'm sure I could redesign it in a way that it'll be acceptable.
Could it be redesigned from like the very beginning on so that I could actually have a little bit more room? Or are you thinking, because our window,
just the backside.
The backside,
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that you already have a variance for 2 feet past his existing property to be really close to mine. But since you're doing the whole construction, is it possible to just the whole new thing be 6-foot setback? Does that make sense?
I would have to consult with my client on that.
Let me try and, but there are really two parts of the addition. They're putting the second floor addition over a portion of the front of a small portion of the front of the house. It's 5 point, well, it varies, but 5.52 feet addition on your side. That's keeping the same setback that the house on your side is. It where they currently have, well, I'll call the balcony on the second floor. They're putting an addition instead of that.
Yeah.
And so that's keeping the same setback as the existing house below it is. And
Yes.
then what they're proposing in the rear is again keeping that same 3.8 setback to your property. But that's totally new construction, and you presumably have more flexibility there than they do on the front of the house. But
yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping. The front, I understand. I have no problem with. I think it's wonderful for them to build up high, to go back. That's within their right to do. We all want more space. I get that. It's so close, and it's so close to my backyard. With privacy and just really my main concern, it's just too close.
We both have very substantial backyards. They're particularly long.
Yes.
I don't think it encroaches too far into the depth of your backyard. However, part of the reason why we maintained the dimensions of the house, the width going down, was it provided proper flow for the room. So I'd have to discuss this with Vincente. I don't know what to do from here.
No, I so understand that, Robert. Like I do get that. And I would understand if you wanted to keep the front part, where I have a window that basically our windows practically we can touch each other from our windows. But since it's a new structure, I just think I guess a flow is ideal. Like I really do understand it. And I hate to cause a problem because I think it's so wonderful what you're doing.
And the question of the side of the house, Leanna, is like, the old house, your house that exists on the side, it really doesn't impact too much more. The only thing you'd have to you converse to the backyard. It doesn't change the actual dimension that much of how far you have to, the actual narrowness, because it's dependent more upon your house, your structure, than it is upon just extending my own backyard. So I hear what you're saying.
Wait, maybe I'm not understanding you, but I'm saying that
you're concerned about the narrowness of increasing the narrowness of the passage that it takes to get to your backyard. It really doesn't, actually. I mean, it really is dependent more upon your
Oh,
existing.
yeah. Oh, no, of course, my pathway is going to be fine. I was really just a little concerned about the construction and how that'll impact me getting to my backyard, but that's of course a different.
Yeah, but it doesn't impact you much, you know.
Right,
I'm
that's,
very flexible, you know, we're very easygoing.
no, of course, that's not my main concern is you being closer, like having the 3.8 all the way down 12 more feet from whatever the other 2 feet you got. That's going to impact me. It's just so close. And I think, I mean, I know that these homes are really close, but as far as my knowledge is that the zoning laws haven't changed, so they should be 6 feet back. And what's going to happen is, this is something where you're talking about your own flow. I have an art studio on the top. When your house comes out, what's going to happen is the closer it is to me, I'm going to get a reflected light from the sun bouncing from your house to my studio and ruining. This is not of any concern to anyone but my own livelihood. I don't want sunlight in my studio. I work from North Light, so it's going to impact me. So the further away you can be, at least, will help me. The 6 feet away, and then go as far back, and maybe you can make up for it on your side since you own both homes. But on my side, I don't see that there's a real need for you to have that variance being closer, because it really impacts me as well. I know you want a nice flow and a beautiful home, and I want that for you and your family. I really do. I'm just concerned about my own, you know, it being just way too close. So
Sure, I understand. I don't know what's required of us, but, you know, I know that we're approved for the first 12 feet. And I know that that section is, the question is the next 12 feet. So I don't know how to take it from here, but I understand what you're saying.
I'm sorry, you said 12 feet? I thought it was only 2 feet past your existing home. Is that not right? I wasn't at the meeting.
Sure, the first approval, I understand, was for 12 feet, 2 feet past the existing, yeah. That's what it is. It's a your side, 12-foot extension, 12-foot extension.
Right, which I figure, you know, that is, you know, I understand that, but it's now that you, which I understand, Robert, I really do, and I want to.
Sure, I just know how, I don't know how to proceed from here. It's even further complicated because we have this first approval, and so.
Right, so,
I'll let the professionals take over from here since I don't understand.
it's quiet.
Graham, do you, the original approval, what did that do to the rear of the house?
I have those plans. I can pull those up if we'd like to. Would we introduce them and mark them, Mr. Sullivan?
Yes, we would mark them as Exhibit A1.
I have them right here on the screen. I can pull them up in just a second. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm showing here. So this would be, this is the architectural plan. What is this dated? Said it's dated February 7th, 2020. This was part of the application filing under application 2669. So the plan here shown on the screen shows the extension that was rendered prior approval by the board.
So it looks like there it was actually 5.07 feet setback at the back.
5.07 feet from the prior part. Under the new revised plan, it's matching the 3.8 feet.
And going back basically twice as far on that side of the house.
Correct.
Okay, so I guess the question is, I mean, you're now seeking, you know, more relief than we granted before. Would you have a problem if we held you to the 5.07 feet that we did with the prior approval?
Would I? No, I don't. I do not.
All right, so Rob, what he's saying is that we would hold the 5.07 feet.
I understand.
Okay.
Right, so we're losing basically something around 2 feet, or is it 1.5, 2 feet?
All right.
2 feet roughly.
1.5. Oh,
1.5, right, something like that effect.
Mhm.
The best that's reasonable. If you want to go back, we would like the extra room still further back. But, you know, as you can see, you already exceed past the house. So, you know, I don't know what the amount of glare might be. You have quite an expansive window. It's all framed out. I'm trying to say that I don't know how much more additional glare would add to such a
Right.
panorama.
So what I can explain to you is when this.
If we move back 5 feet, then is that reasonable?
I mean, we can't just do the 6.
Well, it's a question of flow again. So, you know, we're trying to add this structure onto the existing that's there without too much further, like, you know, obstacles in the way, and to maximize the space.
Just to explain, just so you understand, because maybe I do get why it wouldn't make sense, that the sun, as you know, we're sort of northeast. So the sun is coming to our west in the morning, and it's going to reflect. It comes down and I'm here every day. So it hits the corner, kind of, how can I describe this? It will actually hit your home, and then as a reflector, like in photography, it will come back into my studio, which I'll have to pull shades and deal with. But the further away you are from my property, the better. So
I suggest, if we don't mind, a foot would not be that much of an additional gain and a lack of glare.
right. But I think a foot for me makes a difference in terms of the light that actually on the second floor of my bedroom, like because since you're building up higher, you're going to block my entire side of my house has no light now, which I understand. This is my bad luck, but further away from me, even a foot will help with the light at least coming over your house to maybe give me some light. Because now my kitchen, my bedroom, all of it's going to be blocked with your house.
Well, there's only one window impacted by this.
Well, there's my bedroom window, and then below, it's all just going to be very dark, and my yard in the afternoon probably won't. But that's, you know, light is something that I don't think would be fair to discuss because everybody wants light. So I'm willing to understand that I want you to have a happy home with your family, and these lots are small. So I think,
narrow,
yeah, they are. They're narrow. And so I just think the flow, I get it, but maybe just angle that a little bit and make it good.
If we're talking about 2.5 feet to get to 6 feet, then I just moving it at 1.5 feet is the wisdom of Solomon, to cut it in half. Those sort of thing. It's a marginal impact, I think, overall anyway. And it does give us better flow than taking away another, you know, piece of, you know, square footage that we could use.
Bill, can we get back into the discussion? This is not, at this point, it's not useful.
Right.
okay. Do you have anything further you want to say? I mean, before we ask if there are other members of the public who have comments.
No, I'll say thank you for hearing me out. Am I still? Yeah, thank you for hearing me. And I get flow, I get that, but I also think there's a reason we're just too close. And if he just angled it that 1 foot, it could be beautiful and he can go down. I have no problem with it. So.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other members of the public who have comments, questions, statements, testimony about the application? This is your chance.
Mr. Chairman, there's no one else in the meeting, but I'll do my due diligence and make the request if anyone else has comments. All right, so I'm unmuting all lines for the public. If anyone else has any further comments, please speak up now. Not hearing any further comments, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Do members of the board have further questions based on the dialogue we just had?
Yeah, I do. I looked at the plans, and as I said earlier, I thought that there was plenty of room to either take another foot or two further into the lot or anything. I think it would be beneficial to us to say when there's an addition of this scale in an already undersized thing, that the addition should pretty much stay within the confines of the regulations. Obviously, the other side not only has a larger side yard, the distance to the adjacent building is larger as well. And I think this is not a matter of, the fact of the matter is that some of these regulations didn't exist when these homes were built to begin with. So I understand that, but I see no reason why 2.2 feet would impact either the flow of the house or the interior of the house. It certainly doesn't have an impact on the main floor where that large kitchen, living room, that whole area is, which is a very, very large room. And the bedrooms would not suffer terribly. So my sense is, if we're going to do this, 5.7 isn't the answer. It was 5.7 when it was a shorter addition. Now it's going longer. There's no reason why, within the context of the redesign for the larger expansion, that they couldn't go to and meet the 6 foot requirement, at least on one side yard. So my sense is that if you're at 5.07, which is basically 5 foot, frankly, it's not even another inch, that it can't go to 6 foot and just be in accordance with at least one of the variances. This is an existing condition in the front. I understand it. It has that bow window on top of that, so it gets even closer in some areas where it's only 2.32 feet away from the house. I think there's no reason why the extension can't be set back at the 6 foot line. So that's my take on it. If other people want to negotiate the 5.07, fine, but I think at this stage it ought to be the 6 foot. And I believe, as the architect had even stated, that the flow can work and the size of the house can work, even with that being 6 foot back. And at least we're not setting a precedent where there is the option of setting it back, that we've chosen not to allow it to be set back in an already tight position. So I would like to see it a stipulation that a condition be that the addition be set back 6 foot from that property line.
Before we vote, does the applicant or the architect have any further comments before we discuss and vote on the application?
Yes, just one comment on my part. The bedroom that I have against the wall in question on the second floor.
Yeah.
It's 11 foot 6 inches wide.
Yeah.
If we bring the setback to the 5.07, the room would be basically 10 feet wide. If we reduce it to the 6 foot, then it would be 9 foot wide.
My response to that would be, if you look on that same second floor, frankly, the corridors are about 3 foot wide in the front, and all of a sudden they pop out to be almost 5 foot wide. So what you've done is you've expanded the corridor by 1.5 foot by itself. So if you want to, you can keep the corridor running straight just the way it was before in the existing home and move that addition in, and all you're doing is narrowing the corridor. You could take most of the dimension out of the corridor that you've made a determination to widen to 4'9" basically, where before it was down in the 3 foot range. So to me, that alone is not the argument. I didn't say you had to take it out of the bedrooms per se, or the study per se. I'm saying you can get it from that upper level without having a serious impact. So if you take about 1.5 foot out of the corridor and get it back down to where the other corridor is, make it in line with that other corridor, and you take another 6 inches out of the bedroom if you've got the 2 foot.
Sure.
So I think,
Okay.
I think it's not an argument that sells me that there's no way of providing a little more breathing room in the back of what has now become an addition that, in terms relative to the other house, has gone considerably further back, impacting their backyard as well, because these yard regulations affect the adjacent structures. That's why we have the yard regulations. And here there is ample opportunity to make it narrower. And so I would not be in favor without a stipulation of it being to
Right,
the
the
6
6
foot
feet.
setback.
Okay.
Yeah, I
so-
mean, I'm a fan of the reduced hallway, but maybe we can make some accommodations by moving
Yeah.
it back, by moving
Yeah,
the
well-
yard, moving the house further back. So we're not with wide bedrooms. I'm sorry, Vincente.
No, that's fine. I mean, we can make the 6 foot setback happen.
Okay. Anything further?
Does it have to be a 6 foot? So forgive me, question. The follow-up was, the original was approval for about 12 feet back, as you can see, along the side, or 2.2 feet from the existing structure. So does that still stand, or do we have to go back the whole 6 feet for both, for the whole, what am I trying to say? For the whole length, 24 feet?
For the whole, my position is that it should go back to the 6 foot for the entire length of the addition. And the trade-off is stay with your existing approval, from my perspective, or since you've come back and asked for a larger addition yet, pull it back to the 6 foot. I believe it can be done without seriously impacting your plans. And that's a decision you are the only ones that can make. I can only vote on what I think is appropriate.
Well, if Vincente says we can accommodate,
Yeah,
I'm sure we
I
can.
think that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, so anything further the applicant or the architect wants to say before we discuss and vote on the application? Okay, we'll start discussion with Ms. Harris.
I would agree with Mr. Fleischer. Since this is a new addition, there's room to, reevaluate the floor plan. The yard is quite deep. So, I think they could go back a little bit more to make up for the space that they're losing on the side, and not really have too many on the floor plan. And I think in light of what the neighbor said about, the light and her concerns about the light in her yard and the usability of her space on the second floor, we really need to push for the 6 foot setback.
Mr. Fleischer.
Hang on, Mr. Fleischer.
With
Go ahead, Mr. Fleischer, sorry, you were muted.
I did it to myself because I was messing up with the papers. If the addition is pulled back, so it's 6 foot from the property line adjacent to 31, then I would be in favor of the application. If they wanted to make it, I don't see what they gain by making it another 2 foot longer or something, but if they feel better about that, go ahead and do it. But I just don't, 2 or 3 foot further back, that's fine, but I just don't think they need to do it. I'm pretty good at analyzing plans, and I've been in the business for a long time, so I believe it can be done without any significant detriment to the intent of the applicant. So I'd like to condition that the entire addition be set back to the 6 foot from the property line.
Mr. Church.
Hang on, Mr. Church. Go ahead, Mr. Church.
I would agree with Mr. Fleischer's comments. I believe that the 6 foot setback is doable without a great detriment to the overall plan. If they wish to go back if they can go back, but I think they can do it as it was demonstrated within the existing plan by moving over the outside wall to a 6-foot setback. So I'd be in favor of if there was a 6-foot setback.
I agree. I mean, I think, we've had this, and traditionally we allow people to keep to the existing setback, but, I have said on multiple occasions that at some point the addition just gets too large and at that point we need to start enforcing the setbacks. Still get a side setback variance from the western property line. I think the condition should be that on the eastern property line that the rear addition maintain a 6-foot setback. And I don't want to leave this open-ended in terms of the rear, that if they're going further to the rear, that they go no more than 1.2 feet, which is the distance they're losing on the side going back. I don't want to suddenly discover this is going 20 feet further back to make up the distance they're losing. The length and width of the side and rear are not all that different. I think the other condition should be, Graham, I assume this should still go back to the Historic Preservation Commission as we required in the first instance.
Yes, that's correct. That condition from the prior rule should carry forward.
And that they adhere to the 6 conditions contained in the board's engineer review as well. I think with those conditions, this will not result in a substantial detriment to the public good or a substantial impairment to the zone plan. I think given the narrowness of the lot and the size of the existing house, they have justified the front yard variance and the one side yard variance that we will be granting, and the house width variance that we would be granting.
Graham, Bill, is because of the bay window, that's not changing. That should be clear in the thing, that no one's asking anybody.
Right. The existing house, it's only the addition that has to maintain the 6-foot setback to the easterly property line.
Right.
And the front addition can maintain the 3.8 feet addition of the setback as shown on the plans.
Yes.
Okay, someone want to make a motion?
Move approval of the application with the conditions as just stated by the chair.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're going to pay for this in June, but
I know we're going to pay for it in June.
see you all. Have a good summer.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.